Aliens is one of the most iconic horror sci-fi franchises of all time in my mind. And while I've personally enjoyed most of the installments of the Aliens franchise, excluding AVP2 and Aliens Covenant, I will also freely admit that none of them hold a candle to Aliens or Alien. It has been truly a long time since we got a great Alien sequel. Prometheus showed potential as a spin-off idea, but nothing that truly felt like Aliens. So, where does this movie stand? Well, I'm actually happy to say it's the first to capture the feel of Aliens since the original two. It does this in a multitude of ways. The biggest aspect that makes this movie feel like it's set in the world defined by the Aliens franchise is the tech itself. The movie keeps the very mechanical and low-tech feel of the original movies. Tons of blinking lights, switches to do anything, and low-tech displays that look straight out of the 70s and 80s sci-fi movies. The screens projecting these displays are a little smaller and thinner than CRT monitors, but they keep the feeling, including the 4:3 aspect ratio on all the devices, which even the earlier sequels didn't do. Gone are the super futuristic hologram displays seen in Aliens Covenant and Prometheus, which were supposed to be prequels to the first two Aliens movies, but their tech always felt leaps and bounds beyond that which we saw in the original two movies. This movie does have a few new higher tech gadgets that are introduced throughout the movie, but they don't feel like massive leaps in science in terms of something that couldn't exist in the Aliens universe, just something the original Aliens movies couldn't do due to the limitations of the special and practical effects of the time. This leads me into the next thing this movie does great, which is embracing the modern abilities of special effects and adding new action set pieces that couldn't have been easily done during the timing of the first movies, but still completely fit the feel of the universe. For example, the movie plays with the idea of loss of gravity or zero gravity a lot more than previous movies because the special effects can handle it. Without giving spoilers, this leads to some great moments. There are a few more little additions to the special effects, like the ability to do some scenes in space, and that allows for some action between ships without going to an insane level. They even introduce a new X-ray light that is basically a big flashlight to see into someone's chest, which fits the world, but can clearly add for some great potential scares. Another pro of this movie is it keeps the smaller feel of the original movies. Yes, the space station is bigger, but the cast is small, the stakes are small, and there is no major goal of the movie. It remembers it is a horror movie, and does that justice. So, let's get into Aliens Romulus itself. The movie centers around our main character, Rain, played by Kaylee Spaney, who is locked into a constantly extending contract with Weyland-Yutani. She is working on a mining colony 65 light years away from Earth. She is accompanied by her brother Andy, a reprogrammed android that's sole directive is to protect Rain, but they very much have an older sister younger brother vibe. They will grow on you quickly with Andy's lame jokes, but it's the actor's commitment to the bit that makes it so endearing. They're also joined by a group of fellow slaves, indefinite workers, for the company. The team finds that there is an abandoned craft in orbit that may have cryopods. This would allow them to get off this colony and get to a safe planet 9 light years away, which isn't reachable without the ability of cryopods. The rest of the cast is more forgettable, but that is similar to the first two movies, where most of the cast are great actors, but you don't need to bond with them too much. I'm not saying you won't, but when you leave the movie, you'll mainly remember Rain, Andy, and one other character that I won't say directly because I don't want to give spoilers. The movie continues from here in a manner you would expect, and I don't want to give too much away on the specifics of it, as it'll take away from the horror and the action of the movie itself. But here's what I will say. This movie, just like the original two, knows when to tell and not show. It knows how to build the monster and make sure not to show you right away. As the story progresses, it becomes clear the biggest strength of this movie is it remembers at its core Aliens is a horror movie first and a sci-fi movie second. Many of the later Aliens sequels forgot that, as they kept trying to build on the lore of the aliens or Weyland-Yutani instead of focusing on the aliens themselves. It also steers away from the action hero aspect seen in Alien 3, Aliens Resurrection. I will say Ripley was always an action hero, but she was a hero due to her circumstances, not because she was someone who trained to be a soldier. The movie does very well at adding a little bit to the existing canon, without breaking anything already established. It also makes sure to not get too bogged down in exposition. All of that being said, here's where I'm struggling. The last act of the movie introduces an interesting idea that I enjoyed the potential of, but it gets paid off towards the end, and I'm not sure where I stand on it. The most spoiler free way I can say is the last little bit of the movie had me thinking Aliens Resurrection might have done it better, and that's a weird spot to be in. I will say, right after seeing the movie, I rewatched Aliens Resurrection, and upon further reflection, Aliens Romulus did do it better. Part of me still feels like it should have ended 20 minutes earlier, and part of me loved it. All that being said, this is now my third favorite Aliens movie, and is definitely worth going to see in theaters. Thanks to the movie's commitment to capture the vibe of the first two movies and focus on horror first, the movie earns a 3.5 out of 4. It was almost a 3 thanks to the ending, but upon further reflection, the ending doesn't take away from the rest of the movie, and this movie is just so dang good. I hope you all enjoyed the video. This has been SOS Movie Reviews, signing off.